Welcome to Real Estate Secrets Unlocked, the podcast that takes you inside the minds of the industry's top professionals, revealing their top secrets to success. I'm your host, Danielle Damianov. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, get ready to learn the latest trends, strategies, and secrets that will help you succeed. Join us as we go beyond the basics and explore what it takes to make it in the world of real estate. So buckle up and get ready for a wild ride. This is Real Estate Secrets Unlocked. Hey everybody, it's Danielle Damianov, and I am here today with Amber Traylor, who is with Century 21 out of Texas. And so I'm so excited for you to be here. You've been in the business 6 years and would love for everybody to, hear a little bit about you and how you got started. So thank you.
Well, thank you for inviting me. It's so nice to talk with you this morning. I got started when I first bought my home back in 2016. The market was changing here in Texas a lot. So I decided, you know what, in my downtime, why not get a real estate license? Not really thinking too much about it, but just like, I'll try it. And I've actually always enjoyed just driving around, looking at houses. And I kind of thought that's what real estate was until I got into the business and I realized you wear about 20 different hats.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh, yeah, just look at houses, show houses. It's so fun. I mean, it's fun, but there's a lot more to it. So for the first 3 years of my career, I did it as a dual career. So I was in corporate America as a sales analyst. So I worked as an analyst and did real estate. So some years were great, some years were slower, but 2020 with the pandemic and everything changing, it just became where I realized that I'm going to have to choose one or the other. And of course, I decided to bet on myself and I decided to jump in and go full time. With full support of my broker, got a wonderful coach, and that's how it all started. And then 2021 was my first full-time year. Didn't know what to expect. And then of course, that was the year that the market boomed, especially in Dallas-Fort Worth. A lot of changes happened. So it was a great year for me. And then 2022 was second year. So I'm heading into the third year of full-time real estate. And it's been awesome. It's been a lot of interesting markets. I think 2022 had about 4 markets in 1 year. I mean, that's what my opinion is.
Yeah, it was crazy. Definitely crazy. I mean, we saw a lot of change in the mortgage industry in 2022.
Yes.
So that put a damper on some things also. So yeah, for sure. So 6 years in the business, 2 years full time. And a lot of people do that. I mean, a lot of people say, you know what, I want to get into real estate, but they have another job. So it's like your side hustle for a couple of years.
Yes.
Until you made it your actual main thing.
And I actually didn't even think that I was going to ever go full time. It was always just a side hustle. But then you know how sometimes you just keep getting that call in your spirit to move on. And that's what happened. It was like every year. And it's like, you know what? I worked for some of the biggest companies in corporate America and I had that security. And then I just realized that I don't know if I necessarily need that security. Why can't I provide that for myself at the same time? So that's but it was scary. I mean, I had fear, but I also knew that it was something I was supposed to do. So I jumped in.
So you're going from having that guaranteed salary, right? That guaranteed income.
Benefits.
Yeah. To saying, okay, I'm going straight commission now. I gotta, but what you did say was that you bet on yourself, which is awesome. So how did you decide to go with Century 21? Was that who you were with the entire time or okay?
No. When I first started, I had where I used to live, I had some old neighbors and they were actually brokers. So when my first year in real estate, it was me and then I worked for them. And they was a very small broker. I was really the only agent outside of them. The husband and wife had their license and then I was an agent that just came on. But it felt, they were like family. So it felt very comfortable. So it was good. And I had friends and family that needed my services the very first year out. So I was able to help them. And then they provided a lot of guidance. Moving to Century 21, they called me one day and I was like, okay. And they were like, hey, these are the numbers you did. We could probably help you do better. And I just said, okay, well, sure, whatever, not really thinking much about it. And then I finally said, you know what, maybe I need to be, and of course I'm grateful for the opportunity that they gave me, but it was like, maybe I do need to be around, coaching and more agents and just a different environment just to see what it's like.
Yeah, a lot of times the environment that you're in can, either stunt your growth or, really accelerate your growth. I mean, I talk to agents all the time that they're not in that right spot, right? I can see so much potential in them and I know that they can do so much more, but the company that they're with, and it might not have anything to do with the company, it's just not that right fit. So it's all about the environment that you're in that can really help you thrive. And I think that's a good point for any agents out there, that if you're feeling stuck or uninspired, or you have that calling, that there's more for you, it could just be as simple as changing companies.
For me, it was. I mean, and for the first, so it was 1 year with the smaller broker and then a couple years with them. And I didn't really utilize a lot of the stuff at first that they were offering because, of course, I had my job, and so that was the main focus. But now when I sit back and I think of everything that I get from them and all the benefits and just the support, it's hands down. I mean, I wouldn't really want to be anywhere else for me. Like, for the environment is just very family, or it's a big broker, but a family oriented environment. And I like that.
I love that. So now, did they offer coaching or did you go and get your own coach?
Well, what happened when my 2020 started picking up, and one of the brokers, there's two, father and son, he was like, "Hey, I'm seeing some great things in what you're doing, and if you want to go full time as an agent, we're here to support." So of course, I didn't really understand. I was like, "Okay, sure," They offered it to me. So as part of, because I had experience. So with my broker, if you've been there if you've at least put in 2 years as an agent, they do offer coaching for you. So the person that I've coached with coaches agents that have experience, and then she just gets you to the next level. And so coaching has definitely been, it's been really what's helped me.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would never imagine where I'm at now. If you had told me 5 years ago, this is where you would be, I would never have believed it.
Yeah, coaching is probably one of the most important things for people that are coachable, and people that want to grow. Because for me as a coach, I've had a lot of people come into my program, or even if I'm doing, a speaking, engagement or seminars or whatever, there's the people that are in coaching doing the work that get it and that light bulb goes off. And then the others are just like twiddling their thumbs, like, because they're not they're not coachable. So what are some of the things that your coach or you work on with your coach to get you to that next level?
Well, it's always kind of so I guess a couple of things that she told me my first year of coaching, first year of doing real estate only, is we're always doing something, always having something in the pipeline. Don't just get that one deal and closing. You're sitting there stagnant for that next month. And so you're always supposed to be working ahead. And that really made a lot of sense. And then just having the organization of, okay, and she's really good with, she doesn't overwhelm you. Like, I need you to make 20 million the first year. It's not that. She sees where your progress is and then she'll start adding. She'll move the goal line, which actually for me, that works. Like, oh, what's this? Oh, what's that? Oh, I can get that. Okay. And then, and I guess in a sense I am coachable, and that part, I think she appreciates that part in me too, but I appreciate the knowledge that she gives. Why wouldn't I take advantage of it? I always call it free game. Why are you not going to take advantage of free game? You better use it and make it work for you. So just mostly that, the art of building connections too, like that. Everything doesn't, I mean, granted, we do use a lot of social media, but we still have to build those personal relationships. Handwritten notes, she's very big on handwritten notes. And that actually really, people feel good about that. So just little touches like that you wouldn't think matter, but they really do help build your relationship with your clients. And my business is maybe, I would say almost 90% referral.
Wow, that's awesome. So now, how do you set up your day? I know that people get into real estate all the time thinking, oh, I'm going to have the flexibility and da-da-da-da-da. But what happens is that, you don't generate enough deals if you don't have a schedule, if you don't have what I call a daily success plan. So like, what does your day look like? And then talk to me a little bit about lead generation and what that looks like for you in your day.
Okay. So it was funny. I was asked this question about a schedule. So I think I have a schedule unscheduled. Does that make sense? Like I think I technically do have one, but it doesn't feel like I have one. But there are things that I do every day. And every day I always tell, even because I mentor agents too, do something every day with real estate. Whether you are, even if you have nothing going on, go check MLS, go check the market, do something that's going to teach you. Call, like in Dallas, we have a lot of new construction builders. Call the builders, see what they're offering. So I think on a day-to-day basis, I'm always doing something with real estate. But if I was to break down the day, Mondays are my admin days because Monday is where I have to go back over if I have a listing, where are the offers, what am I doing if I have buyers, going back over, getting the inspections, getting everything in order kind of for the week. Tuesday through Thursday is more of sitting back, making sure I post on social media daily, responding to those posts daily. And then Fridays and Saturdays are usually out in the field.
So
and most Fridays, I'll say mostly Saturdays out in the field. Sundays, I try to rest, but if it's a crazy market, then I'm doing every day.
Hey, you got to take it when you can, right? I always say it's like it's all or nothing. It's like you're so crazy or it's crickets. And when it's crickets, you're like, oh my gosh, is this the new norm?
And when it's crickets is when we need to be learning, because I will say 2021, I remember I turned in my computer to my job. I came home, took my kids to school, and I sat on the couch, and it was January 4th, 2021. And I thought, all right, so I'm doing this full time, huh? And I looked around like, what do I do? I didn't have the coach yet. And I'm just kind of like, all right, first day, it just felt different. And then seriously, like an hour later, my phone rang and I was like, oh, and it hasn't really stopped since then, but it's just been that. And then that year was just boom, 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 boom. And then the second year, I had my cricket moments for the first quarter. And it was scary because I thought I was a one-hit wonder, is what I thought. So I was like, I don't want to be a one-hit wonder. I want to do it again, but I'm scared that and then my coach was like, no, she stopped me from having that feeling. And then she kept saying, what are you doing in the meantime? And she asked me, and I said, well, I started going down the list. So she said, so you're farming? I said, okay, farming? Like, yeah, you're farming. You're planting your seeds. I said, oh, yeah, I'm talking every day. She's like, then relax. You'll be just fine. And sure enough, I ended up doing better than I did 2021 because I did farm. And I think that's what people need to do. When it is quiet, when you think, oh, I went to 5 open houses and I didn't get anybody, doesn't matter. You were doing something in real estate. As long as you are focused and doing something in the craft that you're choosing, it will come. Just don't give up. Because, so many people the next turn, that 6 open house might be when you got that $2 million deal. Right. But if you stopped at 5, you didn't see number 6. So
exactly. Yeah. And really, I mean, you can't force anyone to buy or sell, right? But you can do the daily activities. You have control over your daily activities. And a lot of times action will bring action. And so if you just go and do something, make the phone calls, write the thank you notes, write the gratitude cards, something, it's every single day. It's all going to come back to you.
It really does.
Yeah, it definitely does. So in terms of lead generation, are you mainly doing social media? Do you have any other things that you're doing for lead gen? And do you see yourself implementing anything different for your lead gen moving forward?
Well, mostly social media, but I also am I make sure to socialize and get outside. Like a lot of my clients are in particular, they have different events and different things going on a monthly basis. So I do make sure I go and I show support, and then just showing that support brings people to feel comfortable with you, that you're around, that you're human. So I do definitely get business that way. So, and then making sure I do a good job when they do, ask for, hire me, and then they end up referring me to other people. And then I just kind of keep building my sphere from there.
I love it.
I had some lead generation. I bought some things, and honestly, those haven't not worked out for me. I've seen agents that it has, but for me, no.
The thing with the online leads is that if it's Boomtown or Sync or Chime or Real Geeks or whatever, those take time. And so it could be a couple of years, and people don't have the money to pay 3 years and see no return. But
Exactly.
those are like long-term plays. And so I think a lot of times, and I see teams, I'll see like team leaders say, oh, my agents, I'm paying for Boomtown, and my agents, don't want to call them because they're not getting a return. And they're not getting a return because those people haven't been nurtured long enough. So that's what I see a lot of times. So like whenever I see a new agent, it's like, okay, you have two options. You can buy the business or work for the business. And working for the business is going to get you those quicker sales. It's not always the most fun, but
it's not. And I think a lot of people kind of do get into real estate with the certain assumptions. And it is, you have to tell people it's 100% commission, 100%. You have to build your own work. I don't care what broker you're at. No one's going to just be handing you out leads. You have to work your lead. You have to work to find those leads. I mean, you'll get some assistance, but overall, you have to prove yourself to start getting that.
Yeah.
And pick up the phone. And people don't
pick up the phone. Yes. Call the leads.
I have gotten deals because they were like, you're the first person that answered or called me back. Really? And then I heard a story in the office the other day. One of the agents, she didn't know the client or person at the time, but they're a person at her kid's school. So she was like, well, and they had just moved to Texas and she's just meeting them. She's like, how did you pick the broker you picked? Oh, well, I was calling around and I called like 3 people and this third one's the one that finally answered. And I was like, and the house was $11 million.
What?
And so one of the ladies I mentor said, well, I bet those other people are just mad. I said, no, they're not. They never picked up the phone, so they don't know.
Right. Exactly. How many deals have people lost that they just don't even know for not picking up the phone? Another important thing is lead follow-up. A lot of times the money is really in that follow-up. And so agents don't follow up the way that they should, or as many times as they should.
Yes.
So really having that strong lead follow-up system. How do you systematize that? Do you have, does your CRM do that? What do you use for a CRM?
Well, we have at our broker, we have a report called a market activity report. So basically, once you get their email and their address, you can set them up on that and it goes out in a frequency. You can do it as soon as 2 weeks, 30 days, 60 days, depends. So anytime you meet someone or talk with someone, you can put them on that report. And then that way, and then you can go in and see how many times they click in there. So then you can say, oh, they're coming in, they're off, and they might be somebody I need to reach out to. And so I was talking with some agents the other day and they mentioned they started handwriting notes and sending them out to people that clicked to them more. So that's something new that I'm going to implement. I didn't do that before. And I was like, oh, it just sounded good to me. It sounded right.
Right.
So I'm like, because I'll reach out to them. I'll send an email, but I'm like, maybe I need to make it a little more personal.
Yeah, no, I love that. And what part of what I teach in the daily success plan is 5 new contacts a day, 5 existing contacts a day, people that you already know, 5 database calls a day, 5 lead follow-ups, and then 2 cards, whether it's a thank you card, a gratitude card, 2 cards a day. 2 cards a day is 10 a week, and you feel good writing them. They feel good receiving, but it's also like you feel good, like gratitude, writing cards as well. Take me back to when you decided to quit your full-time, paying job, going into real estate, because there's a lot of people like you that want to do the same, but are scared. So was there anything that you put in place or that you had to do to set yourself up to be able to make that move?
Yes, that is one of the things I did do. And I always recommend people, like, I understand that, everybody wants you to get in full time, but I did make sure I had certain debts in place. I paid at that time, the car I paid it off. I had a certain amount of money saved. I really wanted more saved, but I just said, you know what, I'll figure it out. And I didn't have any debt. So I hadn't spent years in debt. And when I got that opportunity to start selling more in 2020, I just started paying everything off to where I didn't have any debt, nothing. That was only my mortgage, basically. That was my debt, my mortgage and whatever utilities. So I knew that I didn't have a lot of overhead that I was going to have to worry about if anything didn't go the way I planned it to go. So that was probably what I did. And then I maybe had, a little bit saved, and not as much as I thought I wanted to say, but I did have something, a little cushion just in case.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes that's the fire to make you like, if you're going all in, it's like, okay, I'm quitting my job and I'm not getting a paycheck. So I have to go all, like, I have no other choice.
And I kind of think, I wonder if I had more money, would have had the same fire. And
right.
I had fire because I looked at my my spreadsheet and I calculated how many months I had saved. And I was like, all right, I got about 3-4 months saved. All right, I gotta get in and do it. I did have closings that month in January. So I knew I had a listing that I had, and I had another new construction buyer that was closing that January. So I knew I had money coming in at the end of the month. But again, I don't count any real estate money until it's in my bank account because things can change all the time.
100%.
Yeah, so don't count it until you see it in your account.
Yes, exactly, because you never know what can happen all the way up until the closing table.
Oh, I've had it, yes. There's a reason I say this.
Yeah. Well, and also what you said in the beginning, right? What I see a lot of people do is, you know, they're on that sales roller coaster. And what happens is, you know, they do all of these activities to generate deals and they get the deals and they're all excited and they start working those deals, but stop doing the activities that got them the deals. And so their business looks like this because it's like, I got deals, I have nothing. I got deals, I have nothing.
Yeah. I don't, that feeling stresses me out, to be honest. So I don't want to do that. I always make sure that I have things in the pipeline, you know, 3-4 months out if I can, especially if I'm doing a lot of new construction. Right. And how I look at, I look at wins and losses very similar too, is what I've learned. I look at a win, like a closing, I can be excited about it for that day, but then what about tomorrow? You need to get back up and work. If I had a loss, I can be sad and say, hey, that's a loss. That doesn't feel very good. But guess what? I still got to get up the next day and work. So to me, wins and losses are the same. And I may not call it loss, lessons. Wins and lessons are the same. And I keep going after each one. I don't really give myself, you know, oh, I can sit back and, I might go buy myself something nice. Of course, I'm not saying don't deny yourself everything. Don't do that because you won't be happy. Right. But I'm not going to just, rah, rah, rah for so long to where I wake up and I'm like, oh, 2 months down the line.
Exactly. So what tips can you give to any newer agents starting out? Like, what would you suggest that they do?
For some of the, like with the ones, especially with ones I've been coaching, I'd say work on your CMAs, like work on learning how to analyze data and property, just because at this moment in time, with the way the market is, if you're not coming with knowledge and being able to truly help your clients, they're not going to hire you. We are gone from the day where you can just show up, smile, and sell a house. That was 2021. And I guess because that's how it was in 2021 for a lot of agents, you really do have to put in the work. And when you can come in knowledgeable and helpful and really being there to solve their problems, you'll be great. And so some of those things are learn the different neighborhoods, drive around, learn your area, learn your market, learn CMAs, learn how to get through a contract. Like I taught myself on YouTube. I looked at YouTube in my old broker and I just looked at looked at mine and said, okay, what makes sense? Is this what I need? Because I didn't even know. But if you start learning those things, you're better seasoned to be able to go in and say, hey, and there's times where people have canceled with their other, like they've canceled listings and they're like, I need to hire another agent. I don't want mine anymore. And I just go in and I talk with them and they're like, okay, thank you. It makes them feel comfortable. Right. Especially when you're selling a house.
Right. Well, and knowledge is key. A house is usually somebody's biggest asset. And so really being able to show them how you can separate yourself from every other agent out there, right? And that's knowing your way around contracts, knowing your outs in the contracts that are going to help both your buyers and sellers. Mm-hmm. Knowing different markets is going to call for different addendums. I don't know in Texas, but in the Florida market, back in 2021, when everyone was going in cash, whether they had the cash to buy the home or not, they were still going in cash, right? Knowing, those escalation clauses or kickout clauses or different types of addendums that can be used in a contract to help you win the deal for your buyers. So that's huge. And then also knowing property prices, because knowing
the house around the corner, what it sold for,
right?
How long it was on the market. Those things help you when you're out in front of the client.
Yep. Checking the market, checking MLS every day. What are those new listings? How many have gone pending, right? How many have sold? How many expired? How many price reductions? Because those are definitely going up.
I'm an MLS nerd. I guess I forgot to add that part. I'm in MLS daily looking. If I'm in an area and I'm looking for something for somebody, or I'm helping my buyer, like if I have a seller, I'm in MLS on a weekly basis and I'm like, hey, this is what I'm seeing right now. What do you want to do? Especially if something's not moving as fast as it needs to.
Right.
I'm in MLS learning and watching that neighborhood.
Yeah, a lot of things. And so I've been in the 08 market and I've been in the 05 market. So there's a lot of similarities from the 2021 market to now, right? And we're 2023 to 2026, it's going to be a lot of changing, a lot of changes. And so if property prices, and I always, tell this to any agent if they're listing properties, because I was a big lister, when prices, if prices are coming down, okay, and you go in and a seller says, well, I want to price it here, we'll wait a couple of weeks, and if we don't, then I'll drop it to whatever you suggest. When we're in a depreciating market, you start chasing that price down. So if you suggest here on the listing presentation and they want to list it here, but come down in a couple of weeks, well, if in a couple of weeks it doesn't sell, they come to here, the market could be here. So you're constantly chasing that down. So you have to be, number one, really, really good at your market stats. And number two, really, really good at communicating those, to your sellers so that they understand what's going on with the market, and then revisiting their motivation. How quickly do you need to get this sold? So that's huge.
And it's kind of fun for me. I keep with my past career being an analyst.
Right.
So my coach is always like, you analyze the data. I'm like,
I'm just talking, I'm like, I can't really see you as an analytical personality style, right? But everything you were saying, like, I'm an MLS nerd, I love analyzing the data, So and I do too, and I'm not an analytical at all, but it's kind of like just watching the MLS is so important, and you can start to be like, oh, here's a good property for blah, 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 this is a new property that came on the market that's a comp to my current listing, and you're never going to know that unless you check that every day.
Yep, 100%.
So what else? This is all great tips that you have for any agents. Is there anything else that you want to share? Any wisdom, inspiration?
Be happy when you're doing this. It should be fun.
Yes.
It sounds like a lot, and yes, some days it can be, but smile. You wear a good smile and people will just gravitate towards you on the strength of you look happy.
Yeah.
It's like I see agents walking around looking mad and sad, and I'm like, please smile. Yeah. I promise you it's not that bad.
It's gonna be okay. Don't worry.
It'll be okay. So smiling and being happy about walking outside, smile, just be happy and just be grateful, and just, I guess, having especially that gratitude on a daily basis helps too.
Absolutely. I love it. Well, thank you so much for being here. Amber Traylor, Century 21 out of Texas. I really, really appreciate it. It's great to see somebody who literally took the leap of going, part-time with a steady paying job to that full-time agent. I know it's scary, but you did it, and it sounds like you did it gracefully, and on fire. So I'm so excited for you. It's awesome. I'm sure there's, going to be a lot of ups and downs in this market, but I know you're going to be a rock star and charge through and get through it with grace.
But thank you. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. It's so nice to talk with you.
Yes, awesome. Nice talking to you too. All right, everybody, Amber Traylor with Century 21, and we will talk to you later. Bye. Well, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Real Estate Secrets Unlocked. Don't forget to subscribe to our show on your favorite platform, and we would love your feedback. Check us out on social and let me know what topics you want more of. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel and our show. I'm your host, Danielle Damianov, and until next time, stay motivated, stay excited, and keep growing in this crazy world of real estate. Thanks for listening to Real Estate Secrets Unlocked.